Hello, hello. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome. So today we'll be doing a reading from Unconditional Love. So you can see this is source, parents, family, your heart chakra, whatever feels correct to you. My intention is really to pick power words and do energetical readings. Power words is probably a bit cliche, but words really. It's strong, intentional words. So it could be like truth, happiness, that kind of thing. It's not good. I will see what actually comes through. I was going to say it's not going to be a reading from a particular being or anything like that, but it probably will be because it's all connected. So this is an energetical reading from or of unconditional love. So let's pick the piles and see what comes through. I'm getting this one here. It was a very nice day here in Brisbane. Finally, winter's come through. I say that quite cold, however, I looked at the temperature, it's only 19 degrees Celsius, which I'm not sure centigrade, Fahrenheit, maybe around 70. So not really super cold, but for here, pretty chilly. Okay, so let's take a look at the piles today. So for pile number 1, hello, welcome to your reading, pile number 1. So you've chosen Ascended Master Buddha and Peridot with Wild Compassion. So interesting, every single card that came through was an Ascended Master, and they all were more in the masculine form. So you've chosen Buddha with this beautiful green, which just, when I first picked it up, I was like, perfect card for the theme, right? Unconditional love. And unconditional love is true unconditional love, not the unconditional love where, oh, I don't know, you're doing something that I don't approve of, right? If your children are living their truth, let's say, and they get disowned or whatever, that's conditions. I wanted you to be a doctor or a pharmacist or whatever, whatever the parents want. That's a condition, right? And they're like, you can kind of push and pull and argue about it, but those are conditions. And this feels like it's coming from or for your heart chakra. The interesting thing is I'm also listening to Chantress Seba, and she's on YouTube, and I just wanted some background kind of sounds. And it's called Find Peace Healing Frequency for the Heart and Third Eye Chakra channeling. So pretty perfect for this reading as well. Okay, I've got a bit of light coming through. I could change the blinds, but I like this light coming through while I'm doing the streaming, so I'm going to leave it there. Got the sun. The sun's quite low at this time of the year, so it comes through the window, which is really nice. Anywho, let's get into it. Got Wild Compassion. I really like this because it reminds me of the story, but it didn't come through as like this wholly awakened kind of being. He learned how to, you know, ascend or to become enlightened or open up or whatever you want to call it, you know, ascension, awakening, etc. Whatever it is you want to call it, because that's the whole point of our journeys. We don't come in automatically woken up or automatically knowing everything and or know exactly what we should be doing, etc. We learn by what works, what doesn't work, what kind of people we resonate with, etc., etc. And this wild compassion feels like taking risks, but not risks, just like taking a leap of faith, let's say, or going into something to try it. This is the whole point. So it's an interesting card to get, and that's kind of how I'm feeling with this reading. Okay. Try to squeeze these cards in. I kind of do like that there's the three Pickacars or masculine figures, because I've also been drawn to, for the reading today, the goddess among us. And so that's going to add that feminine energy. And a lot of cards that I'm using today do have a lot of feminine energy. So it's good to have like a balance. And I will say it's really nice sitting in this energy for this reading. I mean, what better than unconditional love? Cards are coming through pretty thick and fast. I think there's a lot to say with this pile. Definitely touching on the heart chakra for sure. Feels like it's really core to who you are, this reading. It feels like it's going to touch deep into like kind of like the underlayers of who you are. Maybe remembering who you are, finding who you are, rediscovering, uncovering, expanding in the terms I'm using is like it's kind of like remembering, I guess, but it's just like more spread out, right? Because I was watching this hotel show and this lady goes around and tries to help out the B&B or the hotel or whatever. And this guy was very, very, very fixed, right? He had his own way, and that's how he always did it, and that's what works, kind of thing. It's like it's my way or highway type thing. And slowly, he kind of broke it down to remember what it's like to like go out and I don't know, just enjoy life, because he kind of was stuck in the I have to be here doing this all the time. So it's like very, very like fixed. And when she took him out to like go just walking out in the countryside, up a hill, and just to see the land, you know, it's just about feeling life again instead of just doing life. It's just about being. So it's kind of like how this is. And while some people might not see that as wild, it was a big shift for him. And whether he continues that, it's up to him, of course. But, you know, this was just an opportunity or like a window. So I feel like that kind of theme will come here for you as well in some way. You can take that message with you. You've got Frig with fertility, family, and partnership. Very nice here. It's like these are the things that are important. You can kind of see here with this symbol. I don't know the symbol that well, but what it reminds me of is a compass. And sometimes we need to look at the compass to know where we're going. We need to slow down and be like, hang on, is my compass pointed to the thing that I enjoy or want to feel into or participate in? Remember that this is important. It's also right in her heart space, right? So this is very, very key. Like I said with the song that's playing, it's also channeling in heart chakra and throat chakra, and you've got this choker here. So it's like, is there something that you need to speak to as well? She's also got a rune, which looks like an F to me, but I'm not very versed on runes, so maybe you want to look that up. Ooh, this camera is not always that great, but kind of looks like an F with a little bit more on top. So it's touching on what's important. This is your community. It kind of pulls it down to the root chakra, the sacral, you know, your collective group, your community. And very interesting touching on family too, because recently I've had a family member pass, and so which was very interesting with the reading I did last week because he was still here and now he's passed this a week later. But like the reading I did was like you have someone in mind, and it really felt like it was touching on, you know, past loved ones, all that kind of stuff. So it was very kind of key. And then obviously I had no idea what was gonna happen, but you know, things transgressed, I guess, or transpired the way that they did. So, you know, touching on key people in our lives and gratitude for sure. Okay. You also have unveiling. It says clouded, and radiant. Unveiling. Really nice card here. You can see her kind of opening up. It's like she's in the world, well, but not of it. That kind of wants to come through. She's in the world, but not of it. This is being part of it. And again, goes back to that hotel program with that guy getting back out there and taking on feedback and that kind of thing. I'm not seeing anything as like a critique or a criticism or like shaking up the world. This was just like input. And input is absolutely fine. You can take it or leave it. Ultimately, that's up to you. So what this is about, bringing yourself out, bringing a part of you back out. It could even be reclaiming a part from the past, whether that was a loved one or, like when I say loved one, a relationship that had ended, or a family member that had done something that you didn't agree with, or whatever. Like, this isn't about judging it. This is just about remembering where that aspect you know how some people will talk about like the day this happened, that part of me died. That part doesn't die. You can reclaim that. You can, you know, bring that back in so you can live, essentially. All right, so you have the mind. It says inspiration, mood, and cycles. This is give to the mind and the mind gives back. Very interesting here because it's a lot of thought, right? And you can see the rainbow here with like the mix of the earthly kind of pleasures in life and also the cosmos. So it's like the higher and the lower, and here the higher and the lower end. Higher doesn't mean better and lower doesn't mean worse. It's just like a place where we're at here in 3D world, in this incarnation. You're watching this, we're here. So what are we doing here? What do we want to do? Look after yourself. I feel like your message from Unconditional Love is really to, I guess, get back to the roots of who you are, get back in touch with your heart space. And that takes on everything, because I was talking about the lower chakras and even the mind is the higher chakras. So it's not judging what's better and what's worse, especially even if you do like when you go into like spirituality and things like that. The third eye is like seen as like this holy grail of everything, right? It is a part of like all of the channel systems. I generally work in the heart space, but I don't neglect all the chakras, right? Or all parts of me. I generally work in spirituality. That doesn't mean I take anything away from and don't do anything in the 3D world. I still go grocery shopping, you do all that kind of stuff. You still do what needs to be done out there, and then you spend the time, your majority of your time, in the things that are really important to you. Hopefully, you can. So a very lovely message coming through, and yours going to be very heart space bound because the Peridot coming through with this beautiful green color of the heart chakra. And if you don't know Buddha, a key, let's say, figure in Buddhism. Definitely something to look into if you're interested, just even to get like a bit of the story, right? Even the wiki page of just like general information. A lot of good vibes from Buddha. Okay, let's take a look at the cards. I like this Knight of Cups, doing what you love, going back to like the vibe and the energy of like enjoyment and love in life. The Knight of Cups loves the love. It kind of looks like I can't remember his name. It was on, oh, what is that show called? Mindy? No, Meredith? I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, kind of like that, like, you know, just enjoyment. He's got some wine there. He's got, I don't know, people around him, you know, friends, partners, whoever, whatever, you know, he's just enjoying it. And I feel like that's okay. You don't have to go into a cave and meditate for the rest of your life. As a monk, this is finding pleasure in many different aspects of life and then focusing on what calls to you, really. This is like following your heart space. It keeps pulling back to this symbol. Could be, you know, Frigg was the wife of Odin in Norse mythology. I'm going to read the book for her card as well, just to give you the little clip. Yeah, this death, rebirth. This is about transition, fully transition, letting go so you can allow what's to come next. This could touch on letting go of the past, just because of this unveiling in the mind. Like our mind can keep us here a lot. And so if we kind of give it a rest or a break, we can feel into everything. Sometimes we think about something, but we don't feel it. And this is about feeling it. And not a lot of us are, you know, if you go by human design, in the higher kind of like part of us, we don't need to sit up here a lot. A lot of people don't have those two. If you know human design, it's probably hard to like explain, but like the crown and the ajna kind of like highlighted. And that's okay. It's, you know, it's not better or worse. Your design's your design. But a lot of people are like generators, and so that's down in the sacral kind of area, our gut, trusting our gut instincts, that kind of thing. This is really kind of like the vibe that I'm getting from this reading. You know, you also have the Ten of Cups, which again touches to me on family again with the Frigg coming through. Ten of Cups, going for what you enjoy. You know, even if you can't get that today, it's not about instant gratification. It's about knowing that what you're doing has purpose because you're heading towards a goal. Does that goal really call to you? I know I've done some readings and someone had, you know, was wondering or questioning what they were doing. And so it was kind of like just talking it out as well as doing the reading. And, you know, they ended up changing to something that they're interested in. There's no point going for studying something because the job would pay good money. But if you're studying something you don't like, you're probably going to be doing a job that you don't like as well, because it's going to be in that same field. So reconsidering and changing things is absolutely okay. You can do a job for 20 years and then change careers, and that's absolutely fine as well. This isn't about sticking with what you've got and being limited on what you feel like you can do or improve in life or change in the world, right? It's just about living, really. This is all about living and trusting your heart space will guide you towards what's purposeful or meaningful to you. So very nice. And no one gets to the 10 of Cups by, just getting there. You go through all the emotions of the 1 through to the 9 of Cups, or, whatever really transpires in life. Of course, it doesn't always just go in formation, but, it's taken a lot of effort to get to here, to get the house, to get to have children, to enjoy the blessings of life. Okay, 6 of Wands. I do like this one. Your heart space. Well, this is a message from Unconditional Love, but your heart is kind of like, see yourself as important, or see yourself as able. Don't see yourself as disadvantaged or anything like that. You can see here, he has like a lot of accolades. He's doing something that he enjoys. He might have a disability from the eyes of outside people. And sometimes if you're told, oh, you probably can't do this or that kind of thing, you can start to take it in and believe it. And this goes for anyone, right? If you're, I don't know, you're an artist or something and you want to go into law, they're like, oh yeah, but you only have a background in art, you can't do this, right? And then people start to believe that. But if you feel called to do law or something like that, something different, the only person that can stop you is you. So that's why I feel like being right next to the mind, it's like, be kind to the mind. Give to the mind and the mind gives back to you. Give it a rest, give it some comprehension, understanding. Listen to it as well. What is it really trying to tell you? If it's going off in all different directions, what does that mean? Does it mean you need to take a rest to compile, to process what my thoughts and feelings are actually trying to tell me? That's okay. Give yourself some space. This is a very slow, not methodical, I'd say, feeling kind of reading. This is taking your time with it, instead of trying to force the water down into into a particular path. It's just like, let it flow, let it sit, and then you can see what's happening. Where does it flow to? Does it go down a waterfall? Does it go out to the ocean? Does it form into a lake? Then you can kind of take get an idea of like what you want to do with this water, let's say, or this thought or this feeling. So yeah, I like this. Give yourself credit where credit's due, and if things don't always work out, learn from them. That's basically it. And see it as not like a failure or as anything like that. This is more of like an opportunity to learn. Okay. Yeah, that which keeps you stuck, especially here with cycles, because we've got it in alignment with the death card, the devil card. You're not really limited by anything other than your own belief. I feel like that's 100% true. And I'm talking to things you're interested in and that you can work towards. I don't expect you to be like, well, I believe I have $20 million and then you'll just have it, right? This isn't, again, about instant gratification. This is about what is keeping me stuck towards goals that will keep me happy. What do I have that maybe I feel I want to try something taboo? This looks a little bit out of box, right? Is it actually out of box, or is this something I want to explore? You can always take a dip into the pool and then decide whether you want to go further or not. If it's not hurting anyone and it's not blocking anyone else's free will, then what's the harm in trying something that feels, good to you? Better let go of whatever is keeping you stuck, I guess, is really how it comes through. Because it doesn't serve. Getting a lot of mages, aren't you? Got 3 there. 3? Yeah, 3. 3, 3. Okay. You also have Temperance. And again, it kind of like with the opposing sign, or like not sign, but the opposing card, or just on the opposite of the spectrum, is family. And this is looking like family. This is temperance. Sometimes this can be putting energy into one thing. It takes like a little bit, it's not about making a big leap. If you can, you can, but if it's not, that's okay as well. You don't want to put too much flour in here because it'll be, it'll drown out some of the other flavors. You don't want to put too much of the milk in at a time, or whatever she's pouring in, because it'll be harder to whisk it or whatever. It'll keep lumps or something like that. It's slowly and takes time, and it's like it takes time to make the magic. You have to let things rest. If you're making bread, this is very food based, but like that's kind of the feeling here. It's about certain things taking time, a little bit of cinnamon, or certain spice goes a long way. Too much gets it a little bit over flavored or overpowered, that you can't taste the rest of the the meal or whatever you're making, creating. So it's really nice here. Also, I feel like there's that angel influence here as well, kind of like just observing and enjoying the small things in life. Unconditional love is really coming through with wanting, I guess, to remind you, not really wanting to tell you anything, just remind you of who you are, what you're capable of, what kind of exciting things that are out there, what is keeping you stuck, what are you feeling at the moment, what is your mind telling you? Have you taken a break and a rest and slowed down recently? Focusing on the things that are really important to you, family, partnerships, those kind of things. Holidays, or whatever that means to you, taking time. It doesn't even have to be grand or big. It can be just spending some time with those that matter to you as well. Whether they're family, whether they're chosen family, whether they're friends, whoever that is, whether it doesn't even have to be people, it can be just you, right? Connecting back with who you are. So a really soft, I guess, beautiful message from Unconditional Love. I'm going to leave it there because I feel like this is enough to contemplate and sit with. All very, very nice cards. It really just feels like connect back with who you are, remember who you are. You're not anybody that someone tells you are, or you don't have to be anything other than who you want to be, right? Or where you feel drawn to. What kind of job, what kind of family, what kind of partner, what kind of experience you want to experience. This is about going and making headway towards that from the heart space, following the heart space as well. Okay, I feel like that's probably enough reading the cards. So really nice message. I have nothing too much else to say, but really appreciate you letting me read for you, pile number one. I'll leave this here. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading, pile number two. So you've chosen today Ascended Master Kuthumi and the Moss Agate with Sacred Ecosystem. Kuthumi's always been kind of like a very mysterious figure to me. When I've researched him, I found like lots of information, but not really much. Like, if that makes sense, it's kind of like there's something deep here, but I don't know it. And maybe it's kind of like touches on the mystery of life and that kind of thing. You've got Sacred Ecosystem. When I first got this is your message from Unconditional Love. When I pulled this card, I was like, wow, this really does feel like, the sacred ecosystem, the land, the plants, the animals, but also your ecosystem, everything that we feel is outside of ourselves is inside of ourselves. It's kind of like why people sometimes reflect what we are vibrating at, or we respond in a way that is not really about what's been said or the conversation, but about how we're feeling. So there's kind of like that energy with this reading today. We'll see what that means exactly. But interesting that we've also got 3 more masculine figures coming through with the Pickacard, because we also have this deck, which is the Goddess Among Us, which is all feminine energy, feminine figures. So we'll see what comes through and see what the message is for unconditional love for you today. This is becoming a staple in my readings, almost. I feel like such an important deck. This is the Soul Mirror. And the main message of this deck is see yourself, see you. So it's you know, pretty deep as well. I knew once it came out I had to go get it. Which I think has only happened with about 3 cards. No, maybe 2 decks. This one and the Unveiling the Golden Age. Okay. Okay. Alright. I'll line them up so they don't look all wonky. Okay, let's take a look at your reading from Unconditional Love. Alright, so you have Pachamama. I believe that's how I can pronounce it. Sorry if that's incorrect. But interesting with Sacred Ecosystem, you've got this card with nature. Look, she has the world on her. If you're wondering, is it about the ecosystem? I mean, one, you've chosen this one, and you've got responsibility. This was ahimsa. I can't remember what that means. I could have a quick look, but I think I'll just leave that there. I can't actually remember what it means, but that's okay. It's really talking about taking care of your environment. This could be internal as well. I'm going to quickly read this one. So I said that last reading and I forgot to read it. But that's okay, I think we got the message out. Alright, let's have a look at Pachamama. It's just like a little quick little thing. I quite like the oracle messages here. Okay, so Pachamama's message is heal the world, tread lightly on the earth, take responsibility for what you put out and your own actions. You'll be provided for, so provide for the earth in return. Yeah, it's making me think of there's enough here for everybody, right? We don't have to feel like we are fighting against one another for resources or anything like that. That is a very old vibe that is kind of becoming redundant and extinct, I would say. Also a bit of light coming through on here as well. So, 2 very eco-minded, I guess. Whether that means you start to think about the eggs that you buy, or the kind of like reducing the amount of meat, or you know, whatever. I'm not going to tell you what to do, this is just examples, but being mindful of like the clothing you buy, or is this fair trade, you know, all that kind of stuff. Are they burning down forests so that they can create this plant where I can eat it, this food? You know, it's just like being aware of, instead of just consuming, being aware of how it got made, where it comes from, who's impacted, all that kind of stuff. If you feel called to it. Of course, and this can also be what you're putting in consuming yourself. Are you putting good nutrition in? And, you know, how are your conversations and interactions with others outwardly? It's not about blaming them or blaming you. This is just about being aware. All right, so you've got teaching with withheld and giving. So it's like giving and receiving. This is definitely about opening up. It's a kind of, I feel like it's a very dramatic looking picture, really beautiful, but it's just like, there's a lot, I would say, there's a lot of feelings or a lot of thoughts, potentially a lot of past that still is held onto today, that is kind of almost putting you into a place of autopilotness, I guess, and not feeling in control, just feeling like you go through the motions. I think this is coming back and taking, you know, taking responsibility almost, instead of being like, oh, I'm this way because of this. I'm this way because this person wasn't mean to me, so therefore I'm always like this to everybody now. That's kind of an excuse, right? That's like, if you don't agree with what you're doing, then why you're doing it. Take responsibility for your actions by moving forward, I guess is the best way I can put it. So you have the Forbidden Forest with bravery, persistence, and redemption. This is really pretty. Like, this feels really heartfelt. Like, look here, these are different decks. She's touching this, like, I guess like this black hole or this like portal or something like that. And even here, she's touching into it. So this may mean that it's best to go within, go deep. Remember, this is unconditional love. This unconditional love is not about judgment of who you were, or if you have a shadowy past or anything like that. This is about taking what is it, inventory of what is going on in the now, so that you can reclaim sovereignty. I feel it says here, you are so brave to keep on going the way you do. So it's also showing a huge amount of compassion for the path that you've had to travel to get to here as well. Like I said, this isn't about judgment, and I'm not trying to channel the message in a way that sounds a little bit harsh. This is just the way it's coming through, and it's not coming through with any judgment at all. It's all very much about taking ownership and then starting to reform ideas in a way that feels correct to you, not in a way that gets told by someone else, me, anybody, family, anything like that. This is about what feels correct for you. I'm just gonna have to turn on the light, so give me one moment. Okay, it's getting a little bit dark in here. Got the Four of Wands, really pretty here. Celebrate successes, remember the good times, not just all the harsh stuff. You know, even the small things. Sometimes the things we remember are like going fishing one day and not particularly catching anything, but just being able to spend time with our parent or our caregiver or a friend or anything like that. You know, there's so many different things. Doesn't have to be this big grand holiday that we went on or anything like that. It can be, because if that's what you got to go on, you know, there's gratitude and happiness with that as well. You've got the Four of Wands. Four of Wands is about celebration by reaching a milestone. Here you can kind of see like some kind of wedding going on, or some kind of like celebration where everyone's dressed beautifully. You have the Page of Pentacles coming out. Really nice here. This always makes me think of learning, learning as you go, study, but also here it kind of feels like they've gone out into the wilderness and kind of like living off grid, so to speak. Doesn't look like super off grid, but you know, it's just like getting back to finding a better balance with like the modern world and what we are as souls, but also as humans, like human souls incarnate. This feels like freedom, but again, you know, you're so brave for going on the way that you do. This is exactly what it is as well. This is the same kind of message here with the Forbidden Forest. It's like this person's kind of having enough, right? You can see in the background there's like arguments and stuff like that. Be mindful again of what you consume. You know, that we're talking about sacred ecosystem. Your body, your soul, your heart is all sacred. So don't consume the things that are going to be toxic to you. If it's turning off the news and not watching that. With my partner, I have to be mindful because certain things, just too much consumption of certain shows is not great, and it doesn't feel like a bad show, right? It's like Come Dine With Me type thing, the UK show where they go and have dinners and kind of judge each other's foods and stuff. Sometimes that can be like an overconsumption of toxic energy because people react in different ways, or the hotel show, like a lot of competition type stuff. um that can be, even for me, can be a bit like triggering, I guess, or like it just starts to lower the vibration in the room, if that makes sense as well. But a clear example would be the news. The news is very, very, very tight, and I know I talk about this a lot on this if you've listened to the readings, and I probably talk about it infinitum. But if it's still relevant and it's coming up in these cards, ecosystem, taking responsibility, nature, like this is what we are taking in. Even if you're subconsciously, you're not really watching it, you're on a phone and you're listening to the news or something, change it to something else, change it to something natural or peaceful. I'm listening right now to Find Peace, Healing Frequencies, Heart, and Third Eye Chakra Channeling. This is by Chantress Seba on YouTube. Beautiful kind of like melodies coming from her. And it feels like you're just sitting in, like next to us, like she's literally sitting next to like a river, or like it's kind of like that kind of energy, but the energy is just her music kind of flows through you. So while I'm not paying attention to it, it's a nice energy to just sit with in the background. So be mindful of what changes you can even test it, right? Watch a whole lot of something that, like, watch a whole lot of news, or watch a whole lot of things that are kind of argumentative, if you really want to test it, and then watch a whole lot of stuff that's like fun and flowy, and then see how you feel. Or even you can test it with your partner and just see how the conversations go after that. It honestly does impact us and pushes us and pulls us. I don't like watching the news, and then I learned not to complain about it. I just don't watch it. There's no point. I'll leave the room if it's going to be on and must be on, right? I don't need to be around that energy. Also got the Five of Cups. Yeah, I mean, this is no joke, I guess, is the best thing to say, because you're reading with teaching, usually that's like learning lessons or life lessons, that kind of thing. But with this Five of Cups, especially next to the Forbidden Forest, it's like a lot of hardship, a lot of challenges. And they don't have to tell you who you are or where you're going, but very clearly been through many different challenging things. And so it's now a time unconditionally to start to make some shifts in your environment, right? Your inner ecosystem, your outer ecosystem, who you are, and get back into that pure state of whoever you're meant to be. Whatever that looks like is, I guess, what you have kind of pre-planned, let's say, the experience-wise. What rolls out and how things play out is always different, because it's all very much free will. But you can definitely get back on a track that you feel proud or happy with. And if you already are, take moments to celebrate the good stuff, and even the things that you've overcome, the learnings that you've gained from the challenges. Okay. So you've also got the Three of Wands, kind of similar to exactly what I've been saying. Finding, like, following your compass, following your heart, going forward with decisions, choices that you've made, and where you're, like, know where you're going. Not getting into autopilot or being a slave to the TV, or to your phone or apps or anything like that. I mean, I can't really talk. I spent 2 hours this morning on my phone just scrolling through rubbish, really. Not, I mean, some of it was good. It was nice. It got me actually in a good mood, because a lot of it was like animals and stuff, and that kind of like picks you up. But that's just because I've kind of trained the algorithm to stop sending me, nonsense, conspiracy stuff, whatever, all that kind of thing. But yeah, this is taking charge and knowing when to take your next step, giving yourself a pause to breathe, see where you're at, check your own environment, ecosystem, and start making those steps. Maybe it's just like even cleaning out the closet, throwing out some old stuff, whether it's related to an ex or anything or whoever, it doesn't really matter. It's just like, does it need to be here anymore? Does it give you, whatever her face is, does this bring me joy? That kind of thing. Do I use it? Sometimes that kind of thing just in your external world can help you start to shift stuff internally as well, and vice versa. It's all very much intertwined. Remember, this is an energetical reading from not a particular being exactly, but like from the energy of unconditional love. And I feel like that's how you can get back into that heart space of unconditional love, which is your true nature. Right, and finishing off with the tower, because of course, why not? Kind of interesting, especially in alignment with this 9. There's something freeing about this picture though as well, because like this house is not great, right? There's something with that, like the house or the building needed to go. Did it need to go in a blazing fire? Probably not. However, sometimes for us to be pushed, it's kind of like, okay, this is just an example. It's kind of like we're in a relationship, right? And both sides are unhappy, let's just say. Whether one side knows it or the other, if they looked in their heart and slowed down, they probably both knew it. But they stay together, stay together, stay together. Eventually, it's going to end because they're just not vibing, let's just say. It's just not working. And so things start building up, and then things get stacked, like issues, problems, that kind of thing, until it has the tower to burn down, like, right? And then it separates, and it's probably would have been better a year ago when these vibes were coming around to have a conversation and probably end, right? Let's just say in a perfect world, that's true. Obviously, there's a bazillion things that make up our decisions, of course. But let's just say that for argument's sake, that's true. It's better to kind of deal with the issue now, let's say, than wait a year when it gets ugly and the tower just falls because someone's sleeping with someone else, or this person is whatever. And it's not about blame, because this is unconditional love. Unconditional love does not blame. It's literally unconditional, and I mean truly unconditional. I'm not talking about how people say I unconditionally love you, but I want you to do this job. Well, that's a condition to your love. You may not see it like that, but it kind of is. It feels like that. That doesn't mean you can't have people do chores and stuff like that. Your children do chores, obviously, but you know what I mean. Like, I'll only be happy if that kind of puts a condition of your like you're putting your happiness on someone else, or that your parents are putting their happiness on you as your responsibility to create their happiness, right? That kind of thing. So it's just very, very that. But yeah, definitely touching on the past as well as like taking the steps and learning from it. So now, let's say, with things that have happened in the past, that it is better to talk things out, or to if you're feeling a certain way, to start to make those shifts, even if it's within ourselves, that kind of thing. It's like what is really important. It also shows, especially when we're talking about environmental type things, here this isn't very environmentally friendly. And when people stay together, when they should break up, and it ends messily, like through a divorce or something. Like, I've seen people get married and they weren't happy, but they thought the marriage would fix things, right? And a piece of paper isn't going to fix anything, essentially. The wedding might be beautiful and all that, but if you're not happy and you think this will make you happy, talk, have a conversation, like word it out, so that it doesn't have to feel like this. It's better to be like, okay, things are kind of like annoying here. I need to sort this out, right? Or I need to do something. That's a better way than leaving it to the tower, which is a major arcana. And a major arcana doesn't just mean like bigger or anything like that, but it feels like someone's left it up to the universe to figure out, or like, I don't want to break up with this person even though I'm unhappy, so I'll just leave it and then see what happens, right? If they want to break up with me, it's going to be on them, type thing. And then it turns into a tower moment. So yeah, I guess tower moments still happen regardless in life. However, I do feel like some towers are definitely much easier to deal with than others. And again, this isn't talking about what's happening to you now. I feel like this is a whole deep dive into the past and what learnings you've gained from the past and where you're going now. Ultimately, it is all your choice. It is up to you where you go from here. And, you know, focus. I feel like because these are in the middle, I always try to like finish with this, but taking each step as like, what do you say? Each milestone as something to stop and celebrate. It's not just about the end, it's about each point and each step and processing the challenging stuff that we have within us. You know, the things that did not work, the perceived failures, because even some of those things that don't work teach us something, right? And that we can gain a silver lining from whatever happened. If you know, in personal experience, having a relationship end and needing to sell a house and that kind of thing taught me a lot. It taught me that I kind of don't really want to go into a relationship and get a house again because that was a whole lot of stress. That's not how I feel now, but after that it was like very clear that I need to be more mindful of how I feel as well, because it like when I was talking about getting married, so with these two people, I feel like I decided to buy a house with this person in hopes that things would improve. But you know, live and learn, and when you're in your 20s, you know, that's a good time to live and learn. So there was that too. But yeah, I guess this is your reading pile number 2. Hopefully this really helps you. It is a really nice reading, I feel, or a nice message from Unconditional Love. It's about processing and taking time and being kind to yourself while you do the things you need to do. Taking care of business, it feels like. Living and learning, you know, this is like the study card sometimes. I know it doesn't look like that here, but it's like, you know, this little kid is learning how to grow things and looking after things. So it's a very fresh energy. And the teaching is like learning from many things and opening yourself back up to that flow of give and take as well. Don't have to be a victim to your past or the past feelings and or mind controlling what you decide and do moving forward, right? There's the mind is part of it and the past is part of it, but there's so much more of you that is important to tap into when making choices and decisions. So I really hope that helps. Let me know down below if you have any questions, of course. I know it's a bit of a long reading. But otherwise, take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Hello, hello. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading today. So you have chosen Ascended Master Morya and the Blue Star Sapphire with Higher Will. Interesting. Will always makes me think of the center in human design, the will, and it's like that kind of like drive. It's meant to be like in bursts, right? And that energy, it's not meant to be worked on all the time or utilized all the time. Because that starts to like trigger like heart kind of like problems and that kind of thing. But it's just reminding me of that. Anyway, Blue Star Sapphire, really pretty looking crystal here. Never seen one or heard of one, so I don't think I've pulled this card often or even thought about it, but really pretty blue card. Remember, this is a message from Unconditional Love as well. So let's take a look and get some cards. I'm not getting too much with this one straight away, just that energy of from the will kind of center. However, higher will almost makes me think of higher purpose, finding shielding or higher something with higher purpose. But we'll have a look at what comes out. It's not exactly higher purpose. It's just like finding that extra level of oomph, I guess, to go get what you deserve. So I think this is kind of like the wild pile when it comes to, even though there was another pile with wild compassion, this feels like the wild pile when it comes to a message from Unconditional Love. Okay. Kind of feels like you've gone through what you've gone through in life, whatever that may be. Everyone, I don't believe anybody in life really misses out on the challenge of what is on offer. Even if they've had, like, you know, a privileged, let's say, upbringing, there's always going to be challenges and heartaches and loss and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like this is part of your story, let's just say. That's why I'm bringing it up. And it builds up resilience, which is great. And it can also build up walls sometimes and all sorts of different things. But it kind of doesn't dictate who we are, but it leads to a lot of lessons, a lot of learning, a lot of life skills. So that's coming through. So I don't know exactly where this is going to go in this reading, but that's what I'm feeling. Okay, I'm going to take a few of these. Yeah. Yeah. This one actually. Okay, let's take a look at your reading pile number 3 from Unconditional Love. Oh, I was wondering who was going to get this one. I was thinking of this card popping up because I was like, okay, so we have 3 piles. They're all masculine energies, right? We had Buddha, we have our Morya, and we had Kuthumi, all ascended masters. And this deck is the Goddess Among Us. And I was like, I wonder if someone's going to get the Priestess today. The Priestess isn't about, this is why you're the wild card, because you're on your own journey. Everyone's on their own journey, right? But this is like your journey. Like this is you're in alignment with your particular path now. The past of resilience and all that kind of stuff has built up to where you are now or who you are now. And I don't feel like a lot of the past really impacts you as maybe as heavy as it did, like, you know, after the fact, which makes sense. Like, let's say a big breakup, we can have negative feelings towards the person, ourselves, all sorts of different things, right? I feel like things have grown and got to where they've got to. And I do like this for you because this is about initiations, activation, and blessings. But this isn't a particular goddess. This is your own path. This is the kind of the path of the priestess. I'm going to read the book with this one just quickly. Because this isn't about you following anyone else's story or legacy or anything. You've kind of done that and it's led to what it's led to. And now it's time to, you know, I guess put yourself ahead, put yourself first. I feel very casual talking about this too. Okay, so here it is. It says here, you have been initiated into the priestess path. Open up to all the blessings, power, and protection available to you now. It says here, you are the priestess. You have stepped into the path and walked with the goddess. You have asked for her help and support, and she has blessed you, blessed your life in numerous ways. So this isn't about a particular goddess. This is about you being that that energy, regardless of gender or anything. We've got a masculine and feminine. We all have masculine, feminine energies. All right, so you've got dissatisfied and grateful. This is receptivity. This is about opening up to this new way. This could also be inviting a new energy into your world too, which can be a little scary, especially if you've like, just an example of like, you know, separated, you've been like a single parent, father or mother, single parent to, you know, however many children you have. You can get kind of like in very like, you know, find your groove and that kind of thing and then set in a way. And that's not a bad thing. You've done exactly what you needed to do to work with what you had. But like, this is just an example, by the way. If this doesn't resonate, take this as like an analogy, I guess. And now it's time to like explore and expand. And that can be kind of scary because it opens up all sorts of different things or different energies to come through into your, you know, your well-structured kind of phase. But I think this is a good opportunity, and remember, this is from unconditional love. This is having trust and support in yourself and the people around you to allow this energy through. Woo! Okay, you also have potential and possibility. This is future, higher self, and quantum. Yeah, you're connected with the higher will. You're connected with your higher self, your higher energy. And higher doesn't mean better or anything like that. It's just an aspect of ourselves, and as we are an aspect of it, so it's within us and also without us. So it's like, it's I don't know, that it's really hard to, I guess, pinpoint in English like the exact kind of like feeling or anything like that. It's just a knowingness, let's say. But I like this. What else does it say on there? It says, reach out to the potential that is calling for you. Yeah, right next to your priestess path. I really like this for you. This yellow. This is like sacral? No, solar plexus. It's that color of solar plexus. Kind of like the I am, like reconnecting with who you truly are. This is really nice. I don't know what else to say. It's really nice. Yeah, Four of Cups. You've already been through the dissatisfied and yeah, dissatisfied. You've already, like, look, she's the same. She's very similar here. And around here, it's like all these people are enjoying what's on offer, but you're not enjoying what's on offer. That's because you've evolved out of that energy. Does that mean they're bad people for still being there? No, they're going on their own journey. This isn't about anyone else. This is about your path and your journey and what's possible for you to create, do, and experience. It's all open. Or this is a time of like exploration with this path, I guess. So if you're not enjoying it, then why stay in it? Yeah, got the Ten of Pentacles. I feel like you've worked hard and got a good solid foundation laid down to whether that's mental, emotional, physical, financial, whatever it is. This does touch on security of financial, having exactly what you need to be able to support the people in your life, or vice versa, or something like that. And it can touch on also family and the ones that are close to you. When something tragic happens, the people, who do you go to? When something doesn't work out, who do you talk to? It's like those important souls that are in your life. You've also got the Two of Swords coming through. I'm not getting a huge hit from that, honestly, which is interesting. I mean, I can talk to the card generally, I guess. Two of Swords, making a decision. Can be like, but left, I know will lead to this, right? I know will lead to that, and both don't feel good. But this isn't about, I guess, knowing exactly what will happen or exactly like what's the right choice. It's about empowering ourselves to believe in ourselves to pick the right path. Even here with the potential and the priestess, she doesn't know exactly what's going to happen. I don't think anyone really knows what's going to happen. Like, I could drive to the supermarket. In my mind, I drive there, I get what I need, and I come home. But we all know that sometimes we go to the supermarket, we buy a whole lot of stuff that we don't need, that kind of thing, or that we do need and we just, it was on sale or something, and we got some, I don't know, bread or something. I don't know. But there was something like that. So things always pop up, and like that might be a nice surprise. Sometimes things don't that pop up that aren't always nice surprise. Someone bumps our car and then we've got a bit of a dent or something like that. We didn't plan for it. We knew the risks that if we jump in our car, something could happen, but these things happen, and it's not about worrying about every little thing that could happen. It's about just going for it. Okay, now that's, I think, the message that they want, and it's just kind of like this, even though it's like Two of Swords, it's like kind of like the energy of go for it. Ooh, Judgment. Yeah, time to come out. This almost feels like coming out of the cave, I guess, with the cross. So I guess it's like, Jesus coming out of, or, whatever happened, coming out of the the cave. So it kind of feels like a rebirth, or like you know, a transition from one to the next. And it's funny I say that, and that's why I slowed down, because this music I'm listening to is handpan music, and I've just put it on for background sound, but it's actually called Rebirth at 1111 hertz by Multi Martin. Anyway, he's on YouTube, and he has a lot of like really beautiful connection with the handpan, and his music is like, if you look at it and just see his energy in it, he's giving himself over to it, right? It's almost like he's not structured, he's just open. So it's kind of like that energy is coming through here too. And like I said, Judgment is about lessons learned, about what else is it? It's kind of like that aha moment when you've like, oh, that's why this happened, or had to happen like that. It's almost kind of like post-life review when you pass and you're like, oh, that makes sense why this person was like this. It's because I was like that, and they felt that I thought this, and blah blah blah, you know, that kind of thing. Okay, also have the Two of Cups, really pretty here. I love the Two of Cups in alignment with the Ten of Pentacles. This is having, you know, what you need around you and going for the things that you may want. So like if you're ready to open up for a connection or a relationship, or if you're ready to go into some kind of work that you feel called to, whether it's charity, whether it's just like you know, a job, you know, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter about any of that kind of stuff. It's having enough to know that you're able to start shifting things within your reality. Yep, love it. I was thinking, I wonder if the Fool's going to come out, because this feels like a Fool card, right? The journey, like going forward. They're not exactly, I feel like the Fool is probably not the best word, because Fool sounds like someone who doesn't know or is a bit of a clown. When this isn't a clown, this is someone who is taking a risk. And like here, it looks like they've created like a little ceremony to be like, okay, I'm ready. And we've got the birth of Venus in the background, like coming out of the, I guess it's like a scallop or a conch shell. I'm not sure. Looks like a scallop shell to me. I don't know what else they're called in other countries, but in New Zealand we'd call it a scallop. So yeah, it's like, and like, you know, there's a whole bunch of people around like, oh my goodness, this has actually come through, and it's the birth of Venus, right? This love goddess, or goddess of love connections and relationships, and it's right next to the Two of Cups, which is really beautiful here, because it's like these two old people who, and the little lovebirds are up here, who are just enjoying what they have. And what they have is each other, their coffee or tea. It looks like a teapot, so I would say tea. You know, they're enjoying each other. And that's kind of what it's about. So this unconditional love is taking what you've already learned, which I feel like is quite a good amount. And people can go through many things. You can go through one thing and that can teach you a huge amount, and some people go through 30 things and are still not getting the message, right? Which is probably why they've been through 30 of those lessons, which is a bit harsh, but you know, it happens. I've seen it with good friends who are lovely people continually go to relationships with just toxic people, and you know, you can be as supportive as you want and help them and try to tell them, but they have to decide for themselves. So eventually it's like, what do you do? What do you say? You can only remind them of like making sure they're valued and that you're available and that they are important in your life, right? And they should be treated with respect, that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. So anywho, it's just a very nice message. I feel like it's probably going to be a very quick one, but from the energy of unconditional or love is utilizing everything you've learned and pushing forward towards what really calls to your heart and sings to you. You've built up like a really good amount of, I don't like saying resistance because it sounds negative, but it's not really, right? It's like you've learned a lot over time, and regardless of age or anything like that, regardless of anything, your potential and the possibilities that are out there are open to you now, and you're probably starting to get that. I did a reading for a good friend, and like part of the message, like I'm not going into details, but like part of the message was, you know, I'm just feeling like I'm not interested in all this stuff, and it's like that's a sign that what you're doing was great up until now, and now it's time to look at other options. Try to do things that are calling to you, even if it's something crazy, right? Like it feels like a step back, going back to like a family orchard or something like that, right? So for as an example, that's not quite in this case, but you know, for example, it's like going back there and starting to work the land and getting back in touch with family and nature and that kind of thing. Maybe that's it, or maybe it's like completely changing, going off into like somewhere like New York or something, and living in the hustle and bustle of like a big city. Like it's all open. Obviously there's going to be things that you're like, no, I don't want to do that. Well, good, cross that off, don't look at it. What do you want to do? What is your heart calling to you? Because you've already got good, you've learned a lot, and you've got good lessons under your belt. You know that you already know what you've kind of like done and completed. So it's now time to, I guess, see how you feel, what's calling to you, and start looking at it. No harm in looking, right? Speaking to the ego, no harm in looking. It's okay to look. It's okay to give it a try, because if you don't like it, you can always come back to what you were doing. It's just like you're allowed to have a little bit of other thoughts without the ego getting too excited about it. The ego is there to protect us and does a great job. However, it doesn't need to turn into something that holds us back and stops us. It can be just like we can find a good balance with it and work together with it. Okay. Well, interesting reading. Let me know if you have any questions, of course. I'm going to leave that here. Really nice. I think I just actually want to read one part. It popped up in my head before and I kind of ignored it, and now it's popping up again, so I better actually listen to listen to my intuition. I'm going to read Love and Prosperity in this section of the Priestess card. The love aspect says, the goddess holds you in love, so hold others in your love. I like that. Receptivity, opening the channels back up. Prosperity says, as you walk the path of the priestess, you will always be provided for. There will always be someone to help in times of need, and there will be opportunities for you to fully embrace prosperity in all forms. So don't worry about missing out on something or losing something or shaking up things, or like not having, maybe shifting some of the foundations. It's okay, because you're always going to get exactly what you need. This is just an opportunity to take, and I feel like it's a really good one. It's time to move forward, I guess, is the best way I can say. All right, that's all from me. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.